I knew someone once who was being pulled in all sorts of directions, and yet couldn't bring herself to say no when someone asked her to do something, whether it was a family member or her boss. She said to me one day that she was completely amazed that those around her couldn't see how stretched she was. She would sometimes stare at them in disbelief while she waited for them to finally realise she needed help, and for them to not only stop asking for help, but to step in and carry some of the weight. Their weight. She didn't even expect them to help her with her burdens. She had done some personal growth work over the years and knew that she had issues establishing boundaries. But when it came to saying no, she was terrified whoever she said no to would stop speaking to her. She also knew from bitter experience that when she said no to one thing, those that had power over her always came up with something worse in its place. So her tendency was to leave things as they were, better the devil you know sort of mentality. She knew that she was practicing some unhealthy behaviours, but instead of being mad at those around her for taking advantage of her and her generosity, she was more so mad at herself for having this problem and not being able to, she said, heal herself, but really I had the feeling that she meant fix herself. If you've watched any other videos of mine, you will know that I am very interested in nurturing yin and balancing it with all of the yang in modern busy life. I view life from that perspective, including in my own personal growth. I think it's an easy trap to fall into in personal growth and healing, to almost become competitive with the part of yourself in need of development and try to overcome it or fix it. And that's a pretty yang way of going about something that really only works in a yin environment. You see, the paradox is that by becoming aware of an undeveloped aspect of yourself and learning to accept it, it can transform. Trying to force transformation can kind of compound a problem. That's why it really is so important to be kind and gentle to yourself. That's not just something I say for the sake of it. It can become a habit to default to self-criticism and self-judgment. No pain, no gain, right? But when you're vulnerable, this is when you need acceptance and kindness from yourself most. Extending yourself the same patience and compassion you can extend to those around you is an essential first step to start in self-care. Another trap that I think is easy to fall into is making development of something you consider a flaw in yourself a source of stress and anxiety in its own right. Aside from the self-judgment of this approach, you risk feeling additional pressure to perform and succeed. This is a very yang deduction, and not the most conducive to transformation. Healing and transformation is a process rather than a destination or a result, and pressure to perform can make you feel inadequate and erode your self-esteem. If you find yourself stuck here, doing something you enjoy to take the pressure off yourself sometimes is really helpful. Honestly, this is something we can forget to do when we're on a mission to heal. It's really important to enjoy as well as grow and improve. If we can't enjoy life, what's the point of all that growth anyway, right? And as for self-judgment about your so-called flaws, this can be a big, sneaky obstacle to your well-meaning commitment to self-care and healing. I want to remind you that an aspect of yin, one of its most endearing aspects in my view, is embracing and accepting imperfection. Embodying yin is accepting the natural flaws and imperfections that make us human. Easier said than done, you might think. Well, it's actually very possible. And to do it, go check out this video next to learn some of my secrets of how.